About a week ago, the MTA announced that service on the Metro-North Railroad's Hudson Line will be extended to Albany, starting with one daily round trip in early spring of 2026. This is exciting news as commuter rail service has not run between Grand Central and Albany since 1967. However, the point of this video is not about the new Albany service. Instead, it is about the tremendous potential Metro-North has with another major capital project, Penn Station Access, which Phase 1 will bring the New Haven Line into Penn Station using Amtrak's Hellgate Line, with 4 new stations in the Bronx at Co-op City, Morris Park, Parkchester, Van Ness, and Hunts Point. And Phase 2 will go one step forward to bring the Hudson Line to Penn Station using Amtrak's Empire Connection, with new stations at West 62nd Street and West 125th Street on the west side. Yes, I know that Phase 1 has been delayed and there is no timeline for Phase 2 yet, but I think it is worth starting the discussion on these future opportunities. So how can we utilize these two projects to their full potential? Enter my revised regional rail pilot. In my previous video, I proposed a regional rail pilot on the Aldebar Atlantic Branch, parts of the Metro-North Railroad Hudson, Harlem and New Haven lines, and a through-running service between the Aldebar Port Washington Branch and New Jersey Transit's Northeast Corridor line. With both phases of Penn Station Access in place, New York Penn Station will become the meeting point for all three commuter rail systems, the Metro-North Railroad, the Long Island Railroad, and New Jersey Transit, enabling greater opportunities for through-running service across the region. Here's what I propose. The New Haven Line and Hudson Line's regional rail pilot will extend into New York Penn Station using the two phases of Penn Station Access, but I don't want them to just end at New York Penn. The Hudson Line will through-run with the Aldebar Hempstead branch to Hempstead, while the New Haven Line will through-run with New Jersey Transit's North Jersey Coast Line to Long Branch. The aforementioned Aldebar and New Jersey Transit lines will be added to the regional rail pilot, and trains will make all local stops in these new pilot sections. Stations will be at Co-op City, Morris Park, Parkchester, Van Ness, Hunts Point, Astoria, and Sunnyside for Penn Station Access Phase 1, and West 62nd Street, West 125th Street, West 168th Street, and Dykeman Street for Phase 2. As part of Phase 2, I would also electrify and double-track the Empire Connection. My previous plans called for 7 trains per hour between Yonkers and Grand Central, and 10 trains per hour between New Rochelle and Grand Central. The service frequency was capped at these levels because Hudson, Harlem, and New Haven lines all have to share tracks further south to enter Grand Central. With Penn Access and the new pilot lines proposed earlier, here are the adjusted frequencies. During rush hours, in addition to the 7 trains per hour between Yonkers and Grand Central, 7 trains per hour will run between Yonkers and Hempstead. In addition to the 10 trains per hour between New Rochelle and Grand Central, 8 trains per hour will run between New Rochelle and Long Branch. Services to points outside the pilot section will run express to Yonkers or New Rochelle before continuing north. With Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Penn Station Access, the Hudson Line and New Haven Line can access New York Penn Station. However, we also have the Harlem Line, and that is where a potential Phase 3 comes in. The common proposal seen out there to bring the Harlem Line to Penn Station is to reactivate a section of the Port Morris branch, an abandoned rail line in the South Bronx that will connect the Harlem Line with Amtrak's Hellgate Line. However, this reactivation isn't possible without heavy investment, as the right-of-way is now partially occupied by other developments. But we don't have to use the Port Morris branch. On the waterfront of the Harlem River, there is a freight line called the Oak Point Link. If we use that and connect it to the Harlem Line and Hellgate Line on each end, we could potentially bring Harlem Line service into Penn Station, though I have to admit that this is also not easy. First of all, the Oak Point Link is a freight line. To use it, MTA will have to negotiate with CSX. Furthermore, there may be capacity issues with the Hellgate Line, which as part of the nation's busiest Northeast Corridor also carries Amtrak's intercity trains and will be carrying New Haven Line service from Phase 1. Finally, the line is a single-track, unelectrified line with sections built on the river. It will require some rebuilding to accommodate passenger trains. So while I do want to bring the Harlem Line to Penn, I think it could be done at a later date, and more studies might be needed to do so. For now, Harlem Line will only run into Grand Central under my regional rail pilot, but if a connection to Penn Station does get built, I will definitely integrate it into the regional rail system. With Penn Station Access and my regional rail pilot plan, service increased on both the existing and newly added pilot lines. 1C rides are created between New Jersey and Long Island, New Jersey and Westchester County, Connecticut, and Westchester County and Long Island, and more New York metro area riders can now experience regional rail. What are your thoughts on my revised regional rail pilot using the Penn Station Access? Share with me in the comments below. If you have not, please check out my original regional rail pilot video to learn more about what I propose. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that video.